Welcome, one and all. It's time to shake things up a little bit in our company, our wizard kissing company. Wherein today we'll predict the future story of Elden Ring instead of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa is right. Now I know what you're thinking. Whoa, right? Well, whoa is right. Because we're about to get cray. But first, a few disclaimers. Mal, you want to do the disclaimers?
Spoilers. Duh. 2. Here's a disclaimer. We recorded this once already. And then the story trailer dropped. This one. And then a bunch of these pictures dropped today. These. And at the end of the day, my laptop got messed up when I tried to update its OS. And the file got deleted. So, it's like we're in this way we are like Job. We have no choice but to start again. Right?
That's just what I was thinking.
In his way we are him. Okay, so we're going off all that, and we've watched some speculation videos, but we've kept it pretty light just because everyone says the same things over and over again, and we kind of want to avoid that, and so there's that. And so, because of that, if we say something obvious that other people have said, sorry, but it's a group effort, and we're all deconstructing the same thing, so it's going to happen. There's going to be overlap and repetition. Okay, but now here we go. Into the wonderful world, a wide and spectacular world, too. The imaginative fantasy that is Elden Ring. Question, start us off.
All right, well, I've got one question for you.
Yeah.
It's probably the question that's on everyone's mind. What is the Land of Shadow?
That's a great question. What the heck even is this place? Well, here is what we know so far. Here's a quote on screen about how it's not in the future, past, or anything, and it's where Marika became an Empyrean. Okay, so this is a tangible place that exists. Don't give me that look. You're telling me that doesn't make sense? I've lost you already. I thought by saying it's set in the present would make it less confusing.
You tell me it's not in the past or the future.
Oh, man. It's just in like a pocket dimension, I guess. It's where America became an Empyrean. Okay, so we know that, which is a deviation from...
Don't tell me it's also where ancient cultures are at.
Okay, go ahead. So it's a deviation in FromSoft lore to have this be not in the future, past. It's almost like this game was written by another person. Imagine that.
You.
Like George R.R. Martin.
That's right. That lovable man, George R.R. Martin.
I was going to go into the impression.
It's the Land of Shadow.
It's the Land of Shadow. It's not a real place.
Okay, here's what else we know about the Land of Shadow. It's also where ancient cultures are at, like this and this. I mean, look at these freaking Crucible guys and this big lion that's clearly a leftover from rituals celebrating Sharath as a Storm King of Stormvale. Yerp. Plus, we know Miquella is here. Okay, what else did we see? Okay, so we know Miquella's here. What the fuck is this place? Okay, so let's look at some other stuff. We see this giant veil in the Land of Shadows, and we know Miquella's there, and we know he was doing stuff with the eclipse. So we're thinking, an eclipse caused shadows. All these ideas are swirling in our heads like so many Tweety birds around a cartoon cat. And then we look at the eclipse soldiers in the game, and all of a sudden we're like, what? And we go, what is this place? And people can't die? What is it? This place is an afterlife, a pseudo-afterlife. It's the afterlife in a world where people cannot die. So their souls, which are physical things in the metaphysics of this game. I know. Looks like you're about to cry.
So much new information.
They go here, which has been veiled off using this thing. Look at these. It's a veil. So it's almost like a purgatory. That's what they say in Italy. Purgatorio. It is a purgatorio. I got ahead of my script. So this all leads me to believe that this place is like an afterlife of sorts where dead things go that can't actually die, because Marika removed the rune of death. So instead of dying, their dumbasses just end up here instead. But instead of death, it's like a sleep land.
Whoa. Proof?
The Nas song. I never sleep, 'cause sleep is the cousin of death. So let's keep that motif in mind.
Okay.
Here's the in-game proof. Fia, deathbed maiden Fia, she puts people to sleep.
Whoa.
Bang.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Bang.
Look at Marika's bedchamber and the Shadowland veil above it.
Bang.
And we know Miquella's there, and he's sleeping in his cocoon.
Bang.
And Godwin is having a deathbed nightmare after his assassination.
Bang.
And Miquella puts people to sleep with St. Trina Lily shit and sends them to the Shadowlands for his quest.
Bang.
Also, the Glomide Queen. Glom is the color of all the sleep powder St. Trina stuff, and Glomide Queen was the queen of death in the lands between.
Bang.
And also, there's this Tarnished Archaeologist video.
Who?
Tarnished Archaeologist video about how our player character is probably resurrected from the Shadowland at the start of the game. It seriously might be his best video yet. It's nuts. Go watch it.
Okay, so we're in Sleepy Death Town, and so what the fuck is going on here? I mean, specifically, I've got a question. Who's that? That old man picture?
That man there? Well, it's interesting because no one in any of the lore theory videos that we've watched has really talked about him or addressed him at all. They go, yeah, it's probably this guy, and then they ignore it. They ignore all the lore implications. So who is this guy? Rosus is a guy. He's an usher of death, and we can see in the lore that he would lead spirits to the afterlife, and we know this from his in-game statues here that point toward catacombs where they used to take dead people. Oh, also, here is a quote from his axe, the Rosus axe, which is a special ability of summoning skeletons on a certain swing, right? And what do we know about the dungeons? The dungeons have been repurposed by the Golden Order to help with the Erdtree. They used to just be normal dungeons or catacombs where they'd put dead bodies, and then once the Erdtree roots kind of bled into the catacombs, they put dead bodies on the roots instead to help feed the Erdtree. Kind of fucked up. Kind of sounds like a weird wood tree. There's a weird wood tree here. But back to that old man in the photo of the trailer. Guess what? He might be Rosus. Why? Well, look at his brooch, this thing, and how it resembles the dungeon watchdog's hammer, the final boss found at a lot of the catacombs at the end of these dungeons. So maybe it's the same guy. It must be the same guy. Now, later on in the trailer, look at this fucked up old guy in a tight spot. Same guy. Bang, bang, look.
Whoa. Wait, that's the same guy?
Same guy, look.
So what the freak happened to him?
Okay, good question. Let's back up even more. So we know Marika, the Eternal. She was not always this. She stopped death once, right? Why would she do this? Back to those tree roots and to the new story trailer. She thinks death sucks, and also the runes of dead people are probably feeding the greater will alien whale in the heart of the Erdtree, which is what I think these runes are. When someone dies, they go here to Sleepy Town, and the runes are collected at the roots of the catacombs and pulled here for the alien in charge, or whatever. Or maybe the flow stopped since the tree looks all fucked up. Messmer dranking them up. We'll definitely leave that in. Okay, and then compare that to all the dead bodies at the beginning of the new story trailer, that everyone's kind of agreeing that it's a moment of inception for the Erdtree. Okay, so back to stopping death. What does stopping death look like? How would Marika prevent Rosus from guiding souls to the afterlife? By doing this. Physically stopping him He's crucified. Look at him. Look at him. Look at
I
him.
can't.
Look at
I
him.
can't do it.
That golden blade is pinning him to the ground. And what does it look like, folks? Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like a modified Melina/Black Knife blade. Here's what those look like. Which is a Newman blade. And, of course, America's a Newman. We're putting it together, folks. And it's gold as hell. Golden Order stuff. And look, it's physically preventing Rosus from moving. Magical realism. What's more magic? I mean, this is a trademark magical realism. How do we stop death? By literally stopping the Grim Reaper from collecting souls, by pinning him to the ground with a holy blade.
Marika loves doing that shit.
She loves doing that shit. She just doesn't know when to stop. So that's what I think is going on here. Here's the thing. Marika, in her process of becoming God Queen here, in the lands between, this wonderful, wonderful place so many people unfortunately call home, she literally stopped death by planting this old dude, Rosus, to the ground so we can no longer lead people to the afterlife. And if this isn't enough proof, look at the Rosus axe. Yeah, I'm bringing it back. People keep asking me if I'm back. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm back. Okay, we're cutting that. Anyways, look at this Rosus axe. It's a group of dead guys being led to a veil. Look at that. Look at the Black Knife veil. Look at the veil in the Shadowlands. And then look at the Rosus axe. Yerp. Yerp. Another incisive connection brought to you by the Wizard Kissing Company. Sorry. Okay, 2 quick notes. Sorry. Okay, the Rosus axe and the Eclipse Shodel look like the 2 curse marks of death that, when put together, form the mending room of the Death Prince for the Fia ending. So take a look at these 2 things. They're 2 halves of a whole, like the 2 curse marks of death. Interesting. Okay, number 2, the Veil Talisman looks like the material of the veil above Marika's bedchamber, but most importantly, the cloth of the Veil Talisman is bound together by what looks like Marika's mimic veil. That's all.
Okay, I mean, whoa. That's all I can say to that is wow. But, that guy, he isn't quite alone in that painting. Who the fuck is that next to him?
Great question, my friend. Now, the obvious question is that Marika? Or maybe the Glow-Eyed Queen? It's hard to tell. But the most important thing here is that it looks like she's pregnant. Look at her hand. She's pregnant. Let's keep that in mind for your next question. Even though I don't know what it's going to be.
You want the Messmer question?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm keeping that in mind, and it's influencing my next question.
Okay.
My next question is, okay, but now who is this guy Messmer?
Who's Messmer?
Uh-huh.
We know he's a child of Marika. We learned that. And many people were surprised Miyazaki told us this. He said, yeah, he's a child of Marika. And we all went, oh, I guess he is a child of Marika. So he's probably a third hidden twin between her and Radagon because he's got the red hair. And
make him a triplet.
It would make him a triplet. Okay, so people are probably thinking that. Rightfully so. But Miyazaki just told us. He's a child. People are going, okay then? I guess he's a triplet? Okay, he might be the triplet. But due to all the dating of everything, this happened so far in the past, and when Radagon emerged, it happened so much farther in the future. It's kind of hard to imagine that Radagon existed when this guy was born. Some people are saying the affair brought up in the trailer by the narrator was Radagon marrying the Glow-Eyed Queen. The betrayal, the affair, what I think the Atreides, the Atreides like betrayal.
The tooth.
The tooth. Remember the tooth. So join her.
Yeah.
You have a great chef cousin. Here I am, and here I remain.
I'm really embodying a dragon when I breathe out the voice.
Yeah, I was gonna cut the footage of the dragon breath incantations in Elden. Okay, so what I think what's happening here is not Radagon risen up. Sorry, got to get the young people in on this. He's rising up the Glomide Queen.
That's so...
No, I'm gonna stop you there. Marika got in bed with this Rosus guy, and Rosus might have been part of the family of the Glomide Queen or something. I don't know, but I think that Marika got in with this guy, and Messmer, to answer the original question, is either might be the child between Marika and Rosus. And you go, okay, but Malcolm, the red hair. Where does the red hair come from? Okay, before the red hair. Look at Messmer's eye in this new trailer. In the original trailer, he had the dragon eye because he's been in like the snake communion and stuff. But in the new trailer, his eye is a dusky gloam. He has a gloam eye. And George loves to infer relationships through the color of his eyes. Look at any of his books and look at the game. Please stop acting like he didn't write the story for this game, because he did. Watch our other videos if you want more proof. He's got a gloam eye. So you go, okay, he's not Marika and Radagon. Maybe Marika had purple eyes. Or something. But where's the red hair come from? Here's where it comes from. Are you ready for this? The way Radagon is probably a created entity from the Crucible and not his own guy, probably created from the Rune of the Unborn, or the Rune of the Undying, whatever it's called, that Rennala has, that allows her to create artificial babies. That's probably what Messmer is. Messmer is the child of Marika, the way the child underlings in the Rennala boss fight are Rennala's children. It's a false life. There's so much of this game is about the theme of like creating life, and like the Newmans tried to create life through Mercury magic. Silver tears is what they were called. And the Crucible is like this hotbed for creation. It's like creation uncontrolled, or chaotic creation. Everything just like feathers and scales, and everything just grows out of a person. Messmer was probably created by Marika, and thus Radagon was probably created by Marika out of this rune. And this is the pregnancy and the betrayal and the affair referred to in the two trailers. So let's think about that. Let's think about that.
Really makes you think.
How funny would that be if Miyazaki was like, oh, he's a child of Marika. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, a triplet. And he's like, yes, a triplet. Okay. Hey, guys. Brief intermission. I'd just like to address some things. Number one, Messmer's eye is still a dragon eye in the story trailer. I was wrong. It's a dragon eye in the original trailer and the story trailer. But this leads me to point 2 of our intermission, which is this means Messmer could still be false life created by Marika, but in the way the Dragonkin soldiers in Nokron are, and the Dragonkin soldier in the Lake of Rot. They've got these long, spindly limbs and everything. Look at how similar they look anatomically. They've got the dragon eyes. And what do we know about the Dragonkin soldiers? They were made by the Newman. Whoa. So he's probably from that sort of process, right?
I mean, all the evidence points that direction.
Seriously. Okay, now on to point 3. To further strengthen the case of Messmer being Marika's and Rosus' child, we know in the game a lot of lineage and relation is implied by their person's name. So if we look at Messmer, it starts with an M, like Marika, duh. But it also has 2 S's in it, Messmer. And Rosus has 2 S's in it. So it fit perfectly with that theme of all the children being named after their parents and so on. And on to a bigger point that I think I did a really bad job of summing up in this is looking at the theme of the game as in relation to A Song of Ice and Fire and how this informs the prediction that we've said of Messmer being fake life and Radagon probably being fake life created by Marika. And just the greater theme of harmony represented by the alchemical rebus. I mean, compare it to the title of George's book series, A Song of Ice and Fire, a harmony of 2 opposites. And the alchemical rebus is a symbolic representation of 2 opposites combining to form a whole. Let's think about it like this. Albinaric life is imperfect because it's fake and it's too clinical and it's made using like the technology of the really advanced Newmans. On the opposite side, Crucible life is imperfect because it's a chaotic natural overabundance where you look at the misbegotten and the omens who just have so much life growing out of them, it can't be contained and it's blinding them, and it can't be a comfortable way of life. So we've got the Albinarics who lack life and the Crucible life that has an abundance of it. It's probably Marika that brought harmony between these two and synthesized her Newman technology of silver tears with the natural life force of the Crucible and the rune of the unborn. So let's distill this. Newmans made mimic tears in an attempt to forge a lord, quote unquote, and it didn't work. So Marika, after coming to this place, injected herself into the hierarchy of the lands between Rosus and the Glomide Queen's family, probably through an affair, to get the rune of the unborn, which was the missing ingredient. With these 2 pieces, she probably made Messmer like a Dragonkin soldier and then, quote, forged a lord in Radagon. The YouTuber Cosmos has a really good video about this. That's kind of the springboard for that whole theory. But going back to it, it's all about harmony. And the main thing we learned from this game, the main problem, is that Marika tried to enjoy life without death. And it's causing all these problems. So this idea of like needing one to have the other, yin and yang, life needs death, Mercury magic needs red-haired scaly magic. Sorry, that sounds stupid. But you see what I mean. Yeah. Did that make any sense, or should I word that better?
It made sense.
You heard it here first. He thinks it makes sense. Okay. I thought the last point was the final point, but it's not. Okay, so on the mausoleums, if the Shadowland is a place that only souls can go, then Messmer is probably the unwanted demigod inside of the Wandering Mausoleum, or one of the Wandering Mausoleums. And probably Melina too, because they only exist as spirits. Because Ronnie has a dead body, and that's how she's allowed to exist in the Shadowland as a spirit. Miquella has a dead body in the physical world that allows him to exist in the Shadowland and the lands between as a spirit. So then we've got these wandering mausoleums full of dead bodies guarded by eclipse soldiers that can phase in and out of existence because they're spirits. It's probably Messmer. And that's why Messmer is alive and well as a spirit in the land of shadow. And I'm sure Melina's body is somewhere too. Who the fuck knows? So that's all I had written down. Okay. So the ultimate question. What does Miquella even want here? What's he doing here? He shed his flesh, much like Ronnie. But you don't have 2 characters in a game or in a story that do the exact same thing. You have 2 very similar characters that do very similar things, but for opposite reasons. That's how a good protagonist and antagonist dynamic work. So you have Ronnie, who shed her flesh because she was, cast out her title as Empyrean to become a leader on her own terms. And now we have Miquella, who cast his title of Empyrean and shed his own flesh to become a spirit, much like Ronnie. To do what exactly? Something probably wildly different, even though a lot of the tangible stuff is really similar. He is in the Shadowland, which used to be, or still is, the Crucible, to resurrect Godwin. Resurrection ritual. The resurrection ritual that we talk about in this video. This one right here.
Yep, that one.
Because Godwin was a hero to all of those scorned by the lands between, or by the Golden Order. Much like this video. But we talk about it in this video. And it seems like the way Miquella is an antagonist almost to Ronnie's plans is the same way Bran and Euron are almost antagonists to one another. And the fact that they're very similar in a lot of ways, but ultimately for totally opposite reasons.
Wow. That's
right.
It's like wow.
It's like wow, right? Okay, so what's happening? It's all centered on Godwin. Miquella is coming in. He said, I need this guy to be a hero. He's a genius. He used to love the Golden Order. And then he probably learned what it took to create the Erdtree by creating his Halig tree. And he was watering it with his own blood. And he said, oh my God. It takes this much of my own blood to water this tree. How much blood did it take to make the Erdtree? And he probably realized some enormous sacrifice was needed, blood sacrifice, that Marika did not contribute to herself. She used other people's bodies. So he probably said, that's fucked up. I'm going to do my own thing. And he said, we need a hero. We need the hero Godwin to come and just be like a big leader for everyone. A prophesized figure. Like so many Azor Ahais.
With fiery swords like so many flaming dragon comets in the sky.
Yeah. He said, I need this figure. He's like, my brother needs to, quote, die a true death. He's going back there to bring him back to life. How do we know this? In-game lines about letting him die a true death and all that stuff. Here's what this is the QAnon theory, but this is true, and you all we're going to be laughing all the way to the bank when it turns out to be true. Miquella the Unalloyed is based off of the archetype that Bran Stark was based off of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who was Bran Stark based off of?
Bran the Blessed.
Bran the Blessed, also called the Bran the Crow, right?
I think his name translates like literally to Blessed Crow.
To Blessed Crow. In the George R.R. Martin books, he's like getting led somewhere by the three-eyed crow, right? So if you buy the connection from this video that Miquella and Bran are the same, and if you buy the connection that the George figure of Bran is based off of the mythological figure of Bran the Blessed, and we look at Bran the Blessed, what does Bran the Blessed do? He's 700 feet tall. Okay.
No. Actually, he is actually really tall.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yes. Ultimately, Bran the Blessed has a cauldron of life, a mythological concept, very similar to a crucible. This is an ancient archetype, the idea of the crucible of life, from which he can bring people back from the dead. So if the crucible in Elden Ring, literally called the crucible, is this hot pot cauldron of life and death, and Godwin's dead there, and Miquella, a.k.a. Bran the Broken, a.k.a. Bran the Blessed Crow, is going into this cauldron to help his brother to die a true death, he's going to be bringing him back to life, folks. That's going to be the mission. That's going to be the goal. Now, I can see Miyazaki fucking everything up and, like, having it to where something goes wrong, but that's going to be the ultimate goal, in my opinion. So let's go through it all here. Enough of my ramblings. This guy is Rosus. Okay, let's restart.
Welcome, one and all.
Shadowland is like Sleepy Town Purgatory. Sleepy Town Purgatory is also the Crucible. This old man is Rosus. This is him being pinned to the ground by Marika. This is Marika. That's probably Messmer. Messmer probably isn't a real child and is probably the child of the Rune of the Unborn Crucible thing. And if you look if you like go into the data files and you zoom in on the Rune of the Unborn, the egg that she's holding, there's like Crucible stuff inside of it. Come on. There's like red hair and scales and stuff. Okay, so there's that. The betrayal is probably Marika marrying Rosus and then killing the Glomide Queen. Or maybe the Glomide Queen was a Rebus, like how Marika and Radagon were one person. What if the Glomide Queen and Rosus were one person? From the top rope.
Damn,
come on, folks. Come on. Okay, Miquella's whole point of being there is bringing Godwin back to life. Why? Because he realized the Golden Order is a fucked up enterprise. Okay. What are we doing on our next video? We can do the Dune video, right?
We got the Dune video coming up. We've got the Clegane Bowl video coming up.
That one will be great.
And a couple more that I don't know if I want to announce just yet.
All right. See you later. Yep. Bye. Because who cares? You know, the point of these videos, the secret to this content is the secret to like sports podcasts and any sort of podcast. It's to waste your time. It's to give you something to think about for an hour to half an hour. I should have done that the other way around. And you consider it, and then you move on. There's no meat to any of this content. Because the questions will all get answered anyway. You ever listen to Bill Simmons? Who's going to win Game 7 this weekend? We'll know the answer. Why even talk about it? Because it's fun to think about. Philosophical in nature. You're more interested in rational thought than getting answers out of stuff. So, yeah. So who gives a fuck if we're wrong? We made you think about it, right?